Hi. Hello. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Hello, welcome. I think what a fantastic middle of session. Welcome to our Chief Heart Officer. It's going to get really interesting now because I think we almost have the yin and yang. I have two speakers who look at life from a different framework, but I've never met a Chief Heart Officer. So I'm very honored. I also, when I read it, it was very abstract. And I was thinking, this is very kind of very soft, very abstract. But I also read that you've grown an organization from 400 individuals to 2,000 contributors, which is amazing, which means that whatever it is you're doing it well with a lot of compassion. So a lot to ask you, a lot to learn from you today.
Thank you.
You're the first Chief Heart Officer. So I don't know how it feels like to walk into the room and say, hey, I'm the Chief Heart Officer. What happens when you do that? When you open up your box of magic?
Oh, well, it's wonderful to be here. And thank you, Lena, for having me. I believe that anyone with a heart to help is a Chief Heart Officer. Anyone that is led with compassion and kindness is a Chief Heart Officer. I have a phenomenal title. I get to do what I believe is my life's work every single day in an organization full of wonderful people, very creative, and I'm no different than anyone else. That's what I would really say. My my purpose is to be of joyful service and to help facilitate growth and change within people, teams, and organizations. I've always done that, even though I've had different roles. But the Chief Heart Officer title, when my boss, Gary Vaynerchuk, and I came together and created it, it felt very natural to me. I know that when I was a child, when I was maybe 13, 14, 15, my parents, who love me and they're wonderful people, used to say to me all the time, Claude, when are you going to learn how to think with your head? You think too much with your heart. And back then, I didn't take it well. I thought, oh gosh, there's something broken with me. There's something wrong. But I know that that's my superpower. And what I needed to do in life, which I've done and I keep doing, is understand how to balance things, how to understand. So yes, my title might seem very soft and ooey gooey and soft skills and whatnot, but it's highly strategic and a lot of critical thinking is needed. And the other thing I'll say is I don't have to have all the answers all the time.
Yeah. So just coming back to just being practical, I think, let's just say, because I'm super kind of numeric and practical, and I just need to kind of unpack this a little. Do you think that the title really helps you deliver the message? Like if you were called something else or you didn't have the title, do you think the title in itself is an enabler, or how does the title support? Because it's really
Yeah,
unique. I just want to stop at the unique of it.
it's very unique. And I work for a very unique individual, Gary Vaynerchuk. And so to know him is to also know that he is willing to break rules and push boundaries. And he's a disruptor, which I love. I have never, ever been in the world of HR. When we created this role, I said to him three things. One, great. How do we know if I'm successful? And he said, you will touch every single human being and infuse the agency with empathy. Okay. Aspirational. I can do that. What are we doing here? He said, we're building the single greatest human organization in the history of the world. Aspirational. Sign me up. And I said, I'm not HR. I never wanted to be HR. I studied to be a psychotherapist, but I've been a strategist for years. And he said, you'll hire a strong team around you. And so that was 8.5 years ago. I immediately changed the department name from HR to people and experience. Common sense, that's what we do. HR has a bad rap. I changed the way we hired from culture fit to skill set fit and culture addition, which means just because you and I both love Dave Matthews doesn't mean you're hired. That's a bonus if you love Dave Matthews, but you can do the skill. I removed the need for college education in most of our roles around the world because I felt like that was a showstopper. And what I will say about Gary is because he has placed this role as number two in the company, I have a lot of air cover. I have credibility. And because I've been doing it for so long now, it's who I am. So yes, the title is wonderful, but I will say you could call me custodian or janitor and I would still do what I do. It's what I've always done. I care about people. I certainly care about helping people remove shame and come back to where they were when we learned how to be kind and compassionate when we were 2, 3, 4 years old. I like to work with people through their problems. And the title is the title is the title. It's the first one. There's many people now I see on LinkedIn that have joined joined the roadshow. Uh, but it's really my life's work. And that is something that I'm very proud to be able to sit in every single day and know that I am delivering upon that. I'm not just listening, I'm doing something with what I'm hearing. I'm moving the ball forward.
Yeah, I think like there's so much money and work that's spent on branding, but branding of things, of objects, of companies, but actually branding what you do, I think just reading the title and seeing you in action, I really get how important actually the branding of what you do. It's
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
is really wonderful. And I think what the way you broke it down about how it actually seeps into everything you do, that's fabulous. So
Yes.
just taking that and further down the practical path and talking about what can we do. I think there's a lot of money and time spent on wellness programs to kind of fix, and it's quite, I would say, to fix bad leadership. So to put a plaster on bad leadership or bad culture or however, whatever the cause is, and there's nothing like good leadership in an organization to bring certainty and wellness. But what's your view about the balance? And I mean, no one's perfect. We're human. I mean, there's no leader that's perfect. They always make mistakes. You always need to support them. But how do you bring the balance? Which one comes first? And
Yeah.
what's your view on that? Yeah.
So we call our culture internally the honey empire.
Hmm.
Honey, how we treat people, how we show up every day, self-awareness, self-regulation. That is 51%. 49% is the empire.
Mm.
The empire is how we do what we do. That's how we go to market. That's how we productize. That's how we get together and solve problems. The people part comes first. Without the people, you don't have a company. Without the people, you don't have an empire. So I think that's the first thing I'll say is I definitely feel that we need to be there for our people, number one. Now, it's gotten skewed whether or
Mm.
not that's post-COVID, whether or not that's the generation. We have 5 generations in a workforce right now, whether or not it's the generational divide, whether or not it's bad leadership, bad management, bad parenting, bad behavior.
Okay.
I can't blame everything on work because when people come to me and they do daily and they come to my teams daily with some real issues and then some real triggers. Real issues are real issues, but triggers didn't happen. You got triggered today because of something that happened before.
Yeah. Oh my God. So spot on.
Yeah, there's
Spot.
only
Yeah.
so much I can
Yeah.
help you with if you're not willing to identify, oh yeah, that's because mom or dad or someone, boyfriend talks to me in an aggressive tone, whatever that is. So that's how I balance it. My job, my life's work here is to create a place where people feel like they are making the best career decision of their life. They are learning, they are growing, they are getting opportunities galore. They can move across the country, they can move across the globe, but they are learning also necessary life skills, how to be the bigger person, How do you be the bigger person? How do you take accountability? Instead of pointing at someone, why don't you use your thumbs? Look at yourself first. What did I do? Thumbs rather than fingers. So, to answer the question, I do think it's our responsibility. And I think there is not a limit, but I think there is a place where you can go overboard because let's be honest, I can't give bespoke solutions to everyone.
Mhm.
Someone asked me to bring in a treadmill because they would work very, very, very well on a treadmill. I would love to bring in a treadmill, but that's just not going to work, right? And everyone's going to want to use it. But I encourage the person to use their allowance and buy one for themselves at home. But what I can do, we can have programs that really speak to those people that have ADHD, that are neurodivergent. We can speak to people and create groups for our community resource groups, people that are of minority cultures where they can come together and support one another in a smaller culture, whether or not you identify as Black or African American, whether or not you identify Hispanic, Spanish, Mexican, whether or not you identify as Jewish, as Muslim. So there's all kinds of things that we can create organically. And then there's
Mhm.
things I'm going to bring in, which I feel can scale because I have to scale.
Yeah, no, I really like how you broke it down. And it is like we are a 360 byproduct of everything around us. So and too much pressure is put on the workplace to deliver a kind of universal happiness and contentment, which never
Yeah.
gonna happen. No,
No,
nobody.
from my lips to God's ears, I hope it does one day, but not in my lifetime. It won't happen in my lifetime. So we can do the best we can do, which is listen, really listen to what this person is saying and figure out what the next 1, 2, 3 steps are. And maybe that's connecting them to someone that they can identify with. Maybe we do have a program that can help soothe them or give them what they need. We have an incredible employee assistance program that is completely concierge. I mean, I've tried to take care of pretty much everything. But when a person comes to me and they say, Claude, I have a splinter. Can you help me get the splinter out of my hand? No, I can't. But there's a first aid kit right over there.
Corner, yeah. I think we're getting carried away a bit, and I got a ping about getting carried away, but it's
Okay,
okay.
okay, 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 okay.
I'm gonna take you aside after, and if I can have a Zoom coffee, I will.
Yes.
But
Okay.
I think one of the things that's I mean, you've created like quite a dynamic and a very innovative workplace, and it's amazing. And it's not always that way. It's always the way it normally works, or traditionally it's worked. You've had a super successful, very toxic environment that's hitting the headlines, and I'm not naming any names. And even the leaders are described publicly as super toxic, yet they have changed the world either with innovation or behavior. And it's kind of okay because they've done so much for humanity. It's okay if they shit on their employees, for a lack of a better word. But I mean, do we stop that? Because do we want this crazy innovation that's making our life better? What do we do? This is like it's almost like you need to stop one to get the other. How do you balance?
Yeah, I almost thought in COVID we were getting there. I really did because it was a global pandemic and everyone was at home. A lot of people were at home, and I had hope. I really did. I still have hope. But to answer the question, I'm going to answer another question, which I get all the time, which is what is the ROI? What is the ROI, Claude? What is the ROI of care? What is the ROI of being a good person? What is the ROI of being kind in the workplace?
Really,
My
the big
answer,
question. Yeah.
yeah,
Spot
my answer is, well, what's not the ROI, right? Because if you have people feeling good, feeling seen, feeling recognized, and that they matter, they feel safe, what's not
on.
the ROI? They're going to show up, they're going to collaborate, they're going to innovate and be creative. They're going to stay there so I don't have to replace them, right? Attrition. They're
Mhm.
going to recommend us to their friends. There's so much right there, and all kinds of other things. I'm working with some Stanford professors right now to really try to quantify the ROI of care.
Mhm.
And I will do that until it's my last breath, because I want to be able to answer that question for everyone in a way that is both quant and qual. Everyone deserves that.
And I think stories is working on something very
Yeah,
similar. And I think Lubna's been doing a lot of work to kind of understand how you can get funding dedicated to that ROI, because at the moment it's a given, it's going to happen. The ROI of, a good culture is just a given. It's going to happen somehow.
it
So my
is.
question is just really getting to know you a bit more, and to understand a little bit more about our, chief heart officer, who is the real person behind it. And just talk to us a little about a point in your life where you were really aligned with your purpose, or a moment when it all kind of came together, and you're clearly very clear, crystal clear on your purpose. But when was the moment when you were like, I'm like sitting in the middle of where I want to be, and I'm doing the thing I really want to do?
Well, I'm gonna share an example of that, which was tremendous. But I will say, when I am sitting with someone, whether or not it's on a screen or in the room, and I get chills, I get goosebumps, something magical is happening. There's an opening, whether or not it is energetic, whether or not it is real, whether or not we have just like seen eye to eye. I just got the chills right now. Like, it is golden. Now, during COVID, I got on the screen. People can put time on my calendar. I got on the screen. This gentleman was on the screen. I had never met him before. Hi, 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 how are you? He said, well, I'm only here because Chris told me to come talk to you. Okay, great. Chris is fantastic. What's going on? I'm depressed. Okay. He said, actually, I've been depressed for years. Okay. Now, I could have said, do you have a therapist? Blah, 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 blah. But instead, I said to him, what do you do when you're depressed? What do you do? He said, I write poetry. I said, I
Mm.
would love to hear some of your poetry. And he said, only if you read me your favorite poem. And I read to him my favorite poem, which is Love After Love by Derek Walcott. And then he read me three of his poems, and we were in tears. And he said, now I know why Chris told me to come talk to you. Was there anything that I did there? No, other than listen, other than engage. There's nothing I did. I didn't give him salary. I didn't give him a promotion. I didn't give him whatever. I just said, human to human, what do you do when you are depressed? Now, he could have asked me what I do. I would have told him too. And that's the story. That's what's going on. And that's what I get to take part in. Now, not all of my conversations are like that. It's not utopia. Some of my had a conversation today, which we let someone go last week, and they're asking for more money and blah, blah, blah. And there's all kinds of stuff, because it's life. It's life on life's terms. And going back to what we said originally, the workplace cannot solve everything. It's not the job of the workplace to solve everything, but I do believe it is the job of the workplace to take care of the wellness of your people when they are in your building.
Mhm.
That is that. That is true. And I stand by that. And that means how you're showing up as a leader, how you walk into that room. Is your phone in your hand and you walk in, you're like, hey, what's up? Like, there's so many things. Like, did you raise your voice at that person? Why? Did you micromanage? Why? Tell us what's going on with you. Why did you feel like you needed to micromanage and, come in and poop all over that person's project? I'm being real. I mean, I'm being real with you.
And it's so like I can see it every moment of everything you said in front of me. Like we were in that instance together. It happens over and over again across the world. And I'm sitting all the way in Dubai telling you, yeah, I saw that happen. I was there in the room with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much, we're in such a transformational time here, whether or not we are bringing more compassionate inquiry into our lives, whether or not we are bringing more mindfulness, whether or not we are bringing more technology or more healthcare, whatever it is, civilization is in this moment of transformation, and it is going to be bumpy. It's going to be bumpy. And I think because of this younger generation, Gen Z, who's changing the world, and Alpha, that's coming up right after them, they're not going to tolerate what I tolerated or you tolerated. We didn't, you and I, my age group, my Gen Z, Gen X, we didn't know we could use our voices. So we didn't. We just went to work. And then we had our life outside of work. And
Mm.
these people want something different.
Mm.
They want meaning. They want meaning.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Here they are, the stories people telling us all. There we go. I think we're gonna turn it around to the audience. There's so much more I can ask you, and you will find me knocking on your door because
Good.
I think all your windows are open. So not only is your door open. So thank you for
That's
the
right.
time. And
Thank you
Nadine,
very
please
much.
take it over and bring in some of the questions.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Dina. Thank you, Claude, so much for
Thank
that.
you.
I will take an anonymous question in the Q&A, and I do ask if anyone does have any questions, just raise your hand or put it into the chat box. So, do you think there is a real appetite among business leaders to embrace this approach of prioritizing people over profit?
I do, but it has to come from the top. It has to come from the top. I wish it didn't. I wish it could be a groundswell that people mobilize from the sides, but we're not there yet. It has to come from someone up here saying, this is important. This we're going to put money into. This we're going to put time and energy into. And I do see the changes. Not in every institution, financial, some other institutions, but I do see the changes in some of these very large organizations that have become more people first. And so I'm hopeful and I'm driving towards that. I wouldn't be able to do this job if I didn't think there was another state to get to. You know, I want to, we're in motion. I want to keep going, but we have to believe that it is possible.
Yes. Hi.
All right.
Hi.
Mark.
I'm such a fan. It's so nice to hear you live.
Thank you.
So I would love to hear any, like, obviously it's highly curated, advice on, so I've been in mental health leadership for 10 years and I ran suicidal programs. So I have the leadership experience, and then I love teaching all the skills you're talking about, the emotional regulation, everything. So right now I've been going into companies in New York, and I've been over lunch hour, like teaching these skills as a way to boost culture. So I'd love to hear VaynerX would be a dream, side note, but I would love to hear any direction that how you think a therapist with 10 years of experience could be like most helpful, in the business arena.
Yep. Great to meet you. Thank you. Thank you. First and foremost, I think there's a fine line that we would need to draw between giving therapy to people in the workplace and not. So I just want to say that I have to put on a little HR hat there, but you already know
For
that.
sure.
I think there's a lot of things we could be discussing. I think you could have office hours, as you say, lunch and learn, but also office hours. And the people that come in know that they're coming in to talk to you about one of five things. They're not going to talk to you about their PTSD or their chronic PTSD and things that are
Yeah.
very, very, very serious, but they can absolutely talk about how to become better communicators in the workplace. They can talk about, why does this one trigger keep on happening over and over and over and over? So I think the office hours is a great idea and one that I would be absolutely open to. The trauma thing is a really interesting space. We just heard about it in the last chat as well, because I don't know anyone who hasn't had trauma in their life, and that's the story, right? That's the way it goes. So what can we solve for with you in an hour at lunchtime that can help people at least leave with either an action item or something that, they can take in and digest and use as a mantra every single day? The idea of helping people feel like they're worthy, like that has to happen. Worthiness, helping someone identify a limiting belief or an imposter syndrome and where it comes from. That has to happen. We're not going to be able to get high performers if we're not able to help them see what's blocking them. So that's the magic I would say that you would come in with, which is listening. And then, you're obviously a pro at this. So understanding or having some ideas or options to give people in terms of what to do when they leave work today, what to do now.
Thank you. And that's so validating because added in this offer of like, I can meet with 2 of your employees post presentation and keep it. I love what you said, like focus on the communication. So to keep it very clean, that it's wellness based and not therapy sessions in the middle of your workday, you know? So thank
Exactly.
you so much for that. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you. Write me.
I will on LinkedIn for sure. Thank you,
Thanks
Claude.
so much, Malka. All right, so maybe I can take one more question from the Q&A feature. It is from Helena, who says that billions are spent annually on surface level wellness programs rather than addressing the real cause of the lack of wellness on a corporate or management level. What is your opinion on the impact of those programs?
Thank you, Helena. The first thing I'll say is we all need to do 100% better job at training our managers. That middle level there is getting lost, and I believe they're getting lost, and they're doing what they think is the right way to manage someone, but it might not be. Or they think that, talking to a person and telling them what to do without asking them what are their, I just think we have so much work to do in this middle section. So I agree with you that we are in some way, shape, or form putting a Band-Aid on the issue by bringing in more wellness programs. However, the hurt is already there. If you have to bring in a wellness, the hurt is already there. The person's already been affected by a poor manager or a poor leader. So why don't we reverse engineer it all and get these managers trained in a way that becomes effective, becomes a coach, becomes someone that believes in them and is there to elevate them and make them the best that they possibly can be while you're with them. That's what I think. And so many of those managers haven't felt it either. So it's this, it's a domino effect. And we need to get to the front of the train, stop it for a second, and get these people trained up, skilled in what it is to actually manage someone. That's what I believe. That middle level, there's a lot of waste there, to be honest.
Love that. Love that. And you are getting a lot of good reactions, positive reactions.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. What I will do is I'll bring Lubna back up again. Yes.
Claude, I just want to say thank you so much. And it's so nice to see you.
Thank you. This is beautiful. I appreciate you having me today. And I've listened in a little bit, and it's gorgeous. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for your contribution.